Bro, some clips don't just feel creepy. They feel like they're pointing straight at secrets people were never supposed to see. Come on, man. Today, we're getting into NASA, aliens and government theories, and the backroom conspiracy rabbit hole. This is Brosky Ray. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
If the truth came out that the original moon landings were fake, it would probably cause the federal government to collapse. That's what an NBC News director said, who agreed that the footage I uncovered of them faking being halfway to the moon proves that they never went to the moon. One of them refused to broadcast it for fear it would cause a civil war. The other one was going to broadcast it and flew me to New York, paid me thousands of dollars for the exclusive license, and then they got a threatening call from the federal government not to broadcast it, and they backed down. The Artemis mission is to kind of reassure people somehow that they can at least go near the moon to kind of prop up the original moon landing claim.
NASA, another money grab for U.S. government.
This why they murdered David Wilcock? I mean, why he committed suicide?
The DS is very, very adamantly fighting to prevent you from learning about extraterrestrials. That's the last thing they want you to know about. They want you to be afraid. They want you to see them as gods, to see them as authority figures. The last thing they want is for you to understand there's a higher power that answers Christianity, answers Islam, answers Buddhism, answers Hinduism. It pays off all of these ancient teachings that we've inherited that often become religions.
The deep state doesn't want you to know the truth about extraterrestrials and aliens, but the President of the United States in February said that he's directing all agencies to release all of those related files, and then all of these UFO researchers and scientists.
Man, not even aliens can receive Latinas.
In 1524, this very suspicious-looking man created the letter J. But I know a hook when I see one. With that being said, can we get why Jesus said a friend? Mark 1:17 and Matthew 4:19 record Jesus saying he will make his followers fishers of men. So a Christian is a fish out of water. I know. This is where you turn it all spiritual. You catch him, he cleans him. What's next? A fish fry?
Are you dumb?
117 equals 27. The 27th element is cobalt, a goblin that led German miners astray in their search for tin. Lucy with a Y equals 10. Interesting that Lucy with an I, the Black Madonna, equals 52, when Matthew 4:19 equals 52. The 52nd element is tellurium, a very toxic element that disturbs fetus development. Tellurium is also said to leave behind the smell of dead fish and garlic. And it was discovered in Transylvania, Romania? That's literally Dracula's crib. Also, Vlad the Impaler equals 52. Remember this movie? Peep how they put a cute little 322 skull on the werewolf shirt. You guys want to know a secret? A wolf is a German miner. Adolf means noble wolf. And in media, it's a little black boy. Think I'm capping? What's this? The word wer in werewolf describes a man or a husband. Okay, the movie Us was shot in the same location as the Lost Boys movie. A vampire movie. These are also the Lost Boys. And this nigga is Captain Hook. Dustin Hoffman played Hook in the Hook movie. His birthday is 8/8. The Jesus element. His full birthday equals 38. The release date of Sinners? 38. The movie Murder by Numbers highlights the number 38 because 38 equals murder. So how do they plan to do this? Well, the main character of the movie is Sandra Bullock. Bullocks means testicles. The country code for Romania is Ro. Here's Ro from the Wood movie. And yes, this has everything to do with your wood. In fact, RO stands for removal of. So that's why he was holding the scissors. Snip! That's terrible. Who's behind all of this? Well, the pointy part on the hook is called a barb. And barb is short for Barbie. An alternative way to spell Barbie is Barbie without the E. If we switch the R and the B, we get the word rabbi. The helly? Jesus' followers called him a rabbi, and he answered. Shortly after, he asked them to eat his flesh and drink his blood inside of a synagogue. The synagogue of... If we add up the numbers from both the fisherman verses, we get the number 41. The day Satan tempted Jesus in the desert. Like and share for part 2.
If you all think C makes sense, you need help. This is blasphemy.
A mysterious in-universe commercial for the Backrooms movie has started playing on TV. And in the commercial is a phone number that reveals something crazy. So on Saturday night, viewers were watching Pluto TV, which is a live TV service. And they randomly got this commercial.
Ahoy there, mateys! Now, according to me map, we've landed on the crystal shores of a bountiful land. A land filled with great deals. Need bed bumps for the scallywags' quarters? We've got it all. And at prices so low, you'll think that you're robbing me! Come visit Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire, and the only thing you'll be wanting is more space to keep it all!
If you didn't know, this is the in-universe furniture store owned by the main character of A24's new film, The Backrooms. And if you noticed, at the top there's a phone number blinking. When they called that phone number, this is what they heard. Sounds scary, but people thought it wasn't anything useful, until people realized the sound being played was not for a phone call, it was for a fax machine. So a player on Twitter that had a fax machine put that phone number in, and this flyer printed out. There are some very interesting details on this flyer. First, the wallpaper bullet point is not in line with the others, which makes sense for the Backrooms. The sentence, "get lost in an endless sea of..." it's the Backrooms. It also makes sense. But what's very interesting is there's an actual address on this flyer in California. People went there and it's just an abandoned CVS pharmacy. But I have a feeling this is just the beginning of this marketing campaign. And I'll post when the next part comes out, so follow for more.
They casually told us how to go to the back room.
Alright, so y'all, I'm interested in the giants and the story of the giants, both times they appear. If giants are true, that means it's so much other shit that goes with it. A lot of people was writing me off when I started showing interest in the giants. Then everybody say, well, if they were, why don't we find their skeletons? Like if they found them, they was gonna tell us. Of course I'm in the Ethiopian Bible. Which other Bible would you read? The women conceived and gave birth to giants of enormous size, measuring 300 cubits in height. These giants consumed all the resources produced by men until humanity could no longer sustain them. The giants then turned against people and began to devour mankind. Epstein probably a descendant of the damn giants. So what happened to him, right? Because I'm thinking the giants just get to do whatever they want till the flood came. But I guess that's not exactly what happened. They basically using Enoch as a middleman. Like the watchers that came down and had sex with the ladies, they telling Enoch, hey Enoch, can you please petition for us and tell God, tell the Most High we sorry, bro. They was fine and I ain't even know it was gonna be all this. Enoch supposed to go back and tell them. You were created as spiritual entities, destined for eternal life, and you had no need for such unions. Now the giants born of the union between spirit and flesh shall be known as evil spirits upon the earth, and their dwelling shall remain among men. They spirits never left, guys. Don't make me say it, but y'all know who them is. Evil spirits have come forth from their bodies. For since they were born, both of humans and holy watchers, this is their origin and beginning. They shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and by that name they will be known. Now, this what really got me, okay? Because everybody be saying women are cursed because of Eve. But what if we cursed because of the women who was hunting angels? Damn, what? We always hunting somebody. We don't got no business hunting. God cursed the women that had sex with the angels and turned them into sirens, aka mermaids. Though they consume no food, they bring hunger and thirst upon others. These spirits rise in opposition to mankind and to women, for they have sprung forth from them. I'm looking like, well, hold on, women. Okay, all us ain't lay down with no damn angels. Peep this, and I'ma just leave it to y'all. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. And when the sons of God came into the daughters of mankind, they bore children to them. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. That explains why there were giants in Noah time and giants in David time. I'm gonna sit this down right here for y'all to keep looking into. Drop a comment if you know a little somebody.
Man, I really enjoyed this content.
Back in 2024, Kim Kardashian dressed up as a full-blown reptilian for Halloween. And so when I remote viewed it, it was the reason why she dressed up as a reptilian is just in case she would ever slip her form. If someone typed into Google Kim Kardashian reptilian, the only thing that's going to come up is her reptilian costume in 2024 for Halloween. I mean, they're covering their tracks before it gets to that point.
Right. So do you believe she is a full-on reptilian at this point?
Yeah, I looked into her family, actually. I did some remote viewing, and so it really all stems down to her mom. So she was the one to kind of originally sign those contracts, and then she just indoctrinated, got her whole family into it. And the funniest part is like everything is hidden in plain sight.
Reptilian is another way of saying demon.
What? Are you serious?
The world's second most recognized climate engineer, Dr. Ken Caldera, stating what he did for the DoD was to design methods of spraying pathogens into clouds to infect the populations below.
You could imagine, say, putting pathogens in a cloud that would rain down on your enemy.
We know in the outbreak of CV-19, at one point, 85 countries were infected in 3 days. That's indicative of an airborne dispersion. We know from Italian researchers, they found CV-19 attached to airborne particulates. We know from our precipitation testing, we have polymer fibers and graphene in our rain. Those two elements are used militarily as biological carrier platforms to carry a pathogen from the clouds to the ground to infect the population below. Why is that in our rain right now? Could they, at any point of their choosing, put something much more lethal into the precipitation and level the playing field? Certainly they could.
Comment the word join for the detailed
That's
herbal
crazy,
protocol
man.
for every disease, and share this video.
I'm not saying anything strange or demonic or evil is happening with major celebrities, but after you watch this video, you may wonder what the common theme is here. Zach Brown Band, remember the latest video with him? That was freaking shocking, dude. I'm talking demonic stuff. Katy Perry, look at her at the top. And there she is. I mean, they all seemingly do this. And maybe the going theory, Migos too, wow. The going theory is that they had to make a deal to get that famous when they were at the top. And part of that deal is doing this once you're famous. Like, you gotta do it. And someone once said, it's kind of like, look, Little Yachty, you know what they say? It's, you get to a point in your career where if you don't join the club, you say goodbye to the fame and fortune that you were dreaming of. And that's the only way to get there. Oh, God.
Man,
don't
look
even
at
get
The
me started on The
Weeknd.
Weeknd, dude. The Weeknd, in the background of one of his performances in the Netherlands, it literally said Satan on the board for one split second. Someone paused it. So you got to wonder, dude, are these rituals, are these... I mean, what do you even think about it? Oh, yeah. Megan Fox, of course. Tyler, the Creator, he was into some pretty dark stuff as well. Kesha, oh, yeah. Pentagram, no big deal there. Mr. Beast, oh, yeah. No shit. When he did that on the with Rockefeller there. The Devil Horns. Rihanna, we all know this. Where's Beyonce on here? Lil Wayne, oh, damn, he did go satanic too. Sam Smith, holy crappers. Talk about a glow up, man. Taylor Swift, we know she went down the rabbit hole as well. Of course, Beyonce. I knew she'd be on there. Where's Jay-Z? He should be on here too. We know he's up to, something. I don't know that I miss any of them. I'm just like, it's clear that something's going on with them. You don't want to worship celebrities, by the way. It actually is a form of, it's indicative of lower IQ, people who worship celebrities and whatnot. So what's this, man? I mean, we're talking holographic. None of this is love and light. None of this is love, light, happiness, prosperity, organicness. It's clear to be negative. It's clearly negative intent. Let me know your thoughts below and follow for more.
I rebuke all of this in the name of the one true living God, Jesus Christ.
You're checking out, family. And this is not AI. This is a newly discovered lizard. Apparently, that could breathe fucking fire through their mouth. Now, I'm showing y'all this to show y'all the theory that I've been presenting to y'all, that 2026 we entered the new earth, and the new earth is the ancient ways. And for us to see a lizard spitting fire should let you know dragons are real. On funnel grade, shit is crazy.
It's so cute, though.
He was explicit that it was not a deer and it was not a bear. This road crossing also mirrors a report from October 14th, 2025, where a delivery driver on Route 102 reported a similar encounter. He described a large, dark, shaggy creature that crossed the two-lane highway in just 3 bounds. And he noted the digitigrade leg structure, the triple-jointed appearance of the hind legs, which gave the creature a spring-loaded movement. In addition to the dark furred variants, there have been multiple reports of a white Bigfoot or white Sasquatch being seen across Providence and Washington counties. While often labeled as Sasquatch, these reports frequently mention the same canine facial features and aggressive territoriality.
Okay, you guys, I wanted to make this video because I'm getting a ton of screenshots from all you guys where it says the Federal Reserve is on the fritz. It's frozen. There's no payments going in or out. And what does this mean? Because you're getting this all over your screens right now. We're about to go into a new system. I've been telling you guys for the past 2-3 years, before the new system comes, it has to go down. It has to crash, right? So $1 trillion was just wiped out today from the stock market. And we've been seeing these waves of red over and over again. Now, they also just put out a warning for all U.S. banks because of their cyber attacks from Iran. Now, this could be a red herring only because it's an excuse. We're $40 trillion in debt, and there's no way to getting out of that because we're just kicking the can down the road. And when you're thinking about the banking system, it's one big Ponzi scheme. Taxes are a Ponzi scheme. Fractional reserve banking is a Ponzi scheme. This entire system since 1913 has been one big scam. There's no longer, any way to get out of this. And they're essentially showing all the fraud, everything that's happening right now, because they want a crash. They want something to happen to get everybody pissed off. And when it actually happens, they're showing you before they do it. Now, this is why you have to get ahead of all this stuff, you guys. So ISO 222 is the new system. It's the new banking standard for all banks to communicate with each other and using these ISO tokens, XRP, XLM, all the tokens I've been teaching you guys for the past 3 years. So don't be afraid, but be aware. Keep your head on a swivel because they are making you look at the Epstein files and the war and all this other stuff. But you really have to pay attention to is your money, because more than your health, Americans across the board are really, people across the world, they're more worried about their money than their health. So I think that is something that nobody's really paying attention to. Gas prices are going to continue to go up because of the oil and, the Gulf of Persia. So buckle up.
This report from France.
This is like, what's his name? Bernie Madoff raised to the power infinity.
France landed on my desk. This 90-page, 3-year study performed by generals and admirals and the chief of police and the former head of the equivalent of NASA in France. I was absolutely floored by it, John. It was like these very high-level people. They interviewed a lot of pilots and military people. They studied official cases from around the world. These were cases that had a lot of data, cases that could not be explained away through conventional explanations. They wrote in black and white in this report that they thought the best explanation for this was what they called the extraterrestrial hypothesis. They hypothesized that the only way to explain these outstanding cases was that we were being visited by something from somewhere else. And I couldn't help thinking, imagine if the equivalent people in America gave a press conference and made the same statement. If we had a 4-star general and an admiral and a former head of the police force and the former head of NASA come out at a microphone and make the statements that they made, it would be like massive.
Monica Lewinsky, she's a member of the tribe. A lot of people don't know this.
Absolutely. The stories are that Monica Lewinsky was an outright Mossad spy working directly under, make of that what you will, Benjamin Netanyahu.
That seems like the most likely scenario from what I've gathered.
I agree.
And then they gave the story to the Drudge Report, who is of the tribe.
Of course. What's extremely interesting is that Bill Clinton doesn't want to sign the Iraq Liberation Act.
And what was that going to do?
And that was going to give America the authority to invade Iraq to protect its interests, which is a crock. It wasn't its interest. It was Israel's interest, right?
Invade Iraq to protect their interests.
Well, after the scandal with Monica Lewinsky comes out, guess what? He puts his name on the
I
dotted
bet
line.
they had something worse on him because obviously he was really good friends with Epstein. That was like a warning shot, I think.
I agree. I agree completely. And then Bush cites the Iraq Liberation Act to go to war. You see?
It's all tied together.
There's scientists that have gotten whacked and or missing, and a couple of generals as well. That's all connected somehow or another to UFO technology and anti-gravity technology and nuclear scientists. There's a bunch of stories that I've read about this, and some of them are like, this is like purely exaggerated, but it's just coincidence.
Right.
And then there's other people that go, no, there's too many people. Now the White House has commented on it. So they're doing an investigation on this.
Great work on connecting the dots.
Go ahead.
By April this year, 2026, April, May, and probably June, the whole economy in the United States is going to change. And it's not going to change in a good way. It's going to change in a real bad way. What you're starting to see more and more on the internet and on TV is people advertising for gold and silver. It's deceptive. It's not that the price of gold and silver is going up. It's that our dollar, our currency, which is based on nothing, is dying.
Man.
It's dying. And we're in serious debt. Last year, there was over 3 million people were laid off. We started this year out, and it's already worse. People don't know what's coming because they're watching stupid things and silly things like the Super Bowl, which is a waste of time. You spend a half an hour with some Bugs Bunny or whatever his name was, dancing around, and nobody can figure out what the hell he was talking about. But it's coming, and it's coming, and people keep talking about things like the New World Order and resetting and all this other stuff. Well, that's what this is. The financial system is not the U.S. This time it's the whole world. It happened a couple times before in 2008. This time is different. This time it's going to stick. And the stock market, it's just a game. That's all it is. Now it's $50,000, which is just ridiculous. So if you're my age or older, 72 years old, and you got your money sitting in the bank waiting for retirement, boy, you're going to take a beating because it's about to unravel. Now, you don't have to believe a word I say, but if you do a little bit of research and don't feel confident that you're doing the right thing or you're in the right place, your money's in the right place, forget it. But it's going to affect everybody. So when you go and want to buy a roast beef or a pot roast for $15 or $18 at the supermarket, get ready. It's going to be $25. It's going to be even more. So everything you touch is going to start to accelerate, and it's going to go higher and higher and higher. And your money's still going to work, but it's not going to buy much. Well, what are you going to do if you lose your job and you got 2 kids? It's coming. By this spring, you mark my words, it's coming. Now, going back to gold and silver, the higher and the faster you see it going up, it's telling you a story. It's not about gold is going up, but it's telling you a story. Is a lot of people are buying it because they're trying to protect themselves. So pay attention.
I hope nothing will happen.
One of the biggest pop stars in the world, probably one of the wealthiest singers. She's born a biological man.
Wow.
What?
Is it who I think it is?
Yes.
T.S.
Taylor Swift?
And when you take your children to these concerts, you're a part of a ritual, and there is spell work being done through her lyrics. Stop taking your kids to these concerts, these festivals that look, sunshine and rainbows. There's really dark layers to them, and they're also energy harvesting places. All that loud bass, the screaming, the stomping, it actually calls in these bottom feeders from the dimensions to feed off of you. And I did see at one of Travis Scott's concerts, someone actually got one of these on camera, a shadow figure literally hopping on someone.
Jeez.
Stop obsessing over these people who are celebrities and look nice and girl next door. These people are all betraying you.
Why is the FBI telling witnesses from the Charlie Kirk assassination to delete their footage? Because it might cause them PTSD. Ryan Simmons luckily backed up his footage on an external hard drive, and I have to wonder if the FBI wants it deleted because he caught an angle of this character on camera. His name is Skylar Baird, and weirdly, there were Google search spikes of his name coming from Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Washington, D.C. before September 10th. But now Google Trends has scrubbed that data. Skylar kept very close proximity to Charlie's security guard before the TPUSA event when they were pushed up against the wall, and during the event when they both were front row. Skylar's Facebook shows that he was dropping out of helicopters for the Coast Guard in 2018. But now he's claiming to just be a digital content creator, even though he only has 7 posts, 5 of which were after the Charlie Kirk assassination. But he somehow got a floor press pass to the memorial. He was the guy that mainstream media interviewed over 7 times, each time saying the exact same thing.
Watch the video for like 10. It's like maybe 10 or 15 feet away when it happened.
I guess it's like grounded, you know.
Man, come
I'm
on,
not trying to be
man.
cynical, but I don't see any physical tears. So where did this guy come from? Why was his name searched before the assassination? Why are witnesses having their TikTok and social media accounts banned and their footage taken down? Why doesn't the FBI want this footage or maybe this angle out there? So what do you think is going on? Is Skylar just an innocent witness that happens to have a background in government uniformed services? Or is it possible that he's a part of some sort of a conspiracy? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
He was trying so hard to produce those dry tears.
The elite really don't want you to own anything.
Remember when we used to own things? Your music lived in your CDKs, your photos were printed, your car, your movies, your stuff are yours.
Media.
Now, you don't own. You access, you subscribe, stream, rent. Even your creativity runs on borrowed platforms. They call it the convenience era. But let's be real. It's the control era, because when you don't own something, you don't make the rules. Miss a payment, it's gone. Change the terms, too bad. Your tools freeze, your files vanish, your account resets. You think you're the user? No, you're the product. And they're selling you back to yourself. That's why in business, in brand, in life, ownership matters. Own your email list, own your systems, own your ideas, because if you don't, someone else will.
You know, Agenda 2030, you will own nothing and be happy.
Check it out, family. 2026. I told y'all the veil is gone. And now we got rappers popping out, shape-shifting on stage. And this is recently at the Coachella event, man. I don't know what rapper this is. If y'all know, let me know. But on From the Grave, shit is crazy.
Y'all know I be smoking, bro. Y'all know I'm high right now. Mount Everest contains marine rocks, proving that the highest point on Earth was once at the bottom of the ocean.
Of course.
Look right there, bro. What the freak? The highest peak we know right now got little fishes on it and shit. First of all, how tall is Mount Everest? Let's look that up. Let's find that out. As of 2026, 29,000 feet in the fucking air. Ain't that almost how high like airplanes be flying? Yep. They say it ain't no evidence of a great flood, but then you got shit like this going on, bro. Let me move. That big ass shit right there. On the top of that bitch, little fishes and shit. How they get up there? We all know fish cannot climb. I never seen a fish climb a day of my life. How the fuck they get up there? And they just got all this going on and I'm just high, minding my business, and I'm scrolling and I see some shit like this. And y'all better not tell me them motherfuckers was flying. Tell me now.
It confirms the biblical flood.
Is anyone else following the guy who's keeping an eye on the trees around his house? Not because like he thinks there's something like termite damage or something going on with them, but because he thinks one tree is moving. Where is this tree moving? Closer to him. He's even out there in his neighborhood warning neighbors that this tree is not real. This tree, he has no question about it being real because he grew up in this neighborhood and he remembers this tree, but he cannot find this tree present in any childhood photos. He claims that this tree is not seen on Google Maps, does not give us any proof of this. However, we're believing him at this point. Honestly, it's a ridiculous story, but the fact that one night he measures it the next day and it's 32 feet closer to him. He does give us a close look at this tree and he's like, whatever's going on, they're doing a good job because it looks and feels like a tree. Normally I don't buy into this, but I am now following this man and he just gave us an update and guess what? The tree is 6 feet closer to him. I'm not going to stereotype anyone, but keep in mind this is a man who has tattoos on his shins and the top of his hands. So I'm not going to question him, at least not to his face. But he is measuring this every day by foot. Still not a believer, that's okay. I don't think I am either, but people are like, no, this is what my dog does to this one tree in my neighborhood, and are posting videos of their dogs losing their mind at one single tree. I have no idea how this story could possibly end. However, some people are giving pictures of what they're expecting to happen even as early as tomorrow. I just think we're all here watching this man doing this because, one, we want to see what the measurements are going to be tomorrow, or really to see how close this tree can get to him before he finally moves out of this neighborhood, or someone has him committed.
The trees walk like in the movie Lord of the Rings.
Did you notice the blood mark cross on Cynthia's forehead? No wonder Ariana Grande quickly returned to a normal body shape after leaving Cynthia. Earlier, when Cynthia played Jesus, people noticed a strange shadow appearing on the wall. Rumors said this was because she had blasphemed against God. From then on, her weight dropped rapidly by 15 pounds, and her face became so gone, it was as if she were a different person. After Ariana Grande filmed a movie with Cynthia, her changes were also rapid and unsettling. She became alarmingly thin, almost unrecognizable. During that time, Cynthia seemed to control Ariana in a way that went beyond friendship, always needing to hold Ariana Grande's hand. She even appeared frightened and repeatedly stared at her own palm after being refused. Later, when Ariana Grande hugged a fan, Cynthia's expression suddenly turned fierce, and it was captured by the fan. After seeing the video, Ariana Grande felt very uneasy and believed Cynthia had crossed the boundaries of friendship. Along with negative comments from fans, this became unbearable for Ariana Grande, who was already struggling with emotional issues. So she ultimately chose to distance herself from Cynthia, even cutting off contact. Since then, Ariana's condition has been improving day by day. She has regained 10 pounds and her makeup and styling are about to return to her original look. Do you think Ariana Grande made the right decision?
They sold their souls.
Do you know that Africa is the only continent rooted in the ground? All the other continents float? Africa is also the only continent that has kept its megafauna preserved. Africa also has more natural resources than any other on the planet.
So you mean to tell me that Africa is the only planet that is still rooted into the earth, and the rest of the continents are floating on water? So that means not go outside and ground. I'm not even necessarily grounding because the United States is not connected to the earth because we're floating on water?
Africa is not a planet. Come on, man.
Is this why they murdered David Wilcock? I mean, why he committed suicide?
The DS is very, very adamantly fighting to prevent you from learning about extraterrestrials. That's the last thing they want you to know about. They want you to be afraid. They want you to see them as gods, to see them as authority figures. The last thing they want is for you to understand there's a higher power that answers Christianity, answers Islam, answers Buddhism, answers Hinduism. It pays off all of these ancient teachings that we've inherited that often become religions.
If the deep state doesn't want you to know the truth about extraterrestrials and aliens, but the president of the United States in February said that he's directing all agencies to release all of those related files, and all of these UFO researchers and scientists end up, you have to wonder if the information you're going to be getting is not all of it. Kind of like some other files. Now, no one's really around to tell you otherwise. As always, let me know what you think about all.
Jesus is the only one I bow to.
Jeffree Star just came out and said that the higher elites wanted him to get down with the reptilians. I told y'all this stuff is starting to come out more and more. This is absolutely wild to hear.
Wanted me to go full reptile. I didn't want to.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that even work? How does somebody come to you
You're
and
the
say,
man, right?
to be a reptilian?
They see the potential that you can do to shift the culture.
Right.
And I chose to shift it myself.
So people actually will come to you and say, hey, I want you to be a reptilian. What does that entail?
It's more like, it's basically like selling your soul. It's such a tricky,
you have to
thing
sign,
to say.
like Ursula and the Little Mermaid, like sign on the dotted line. And
you have to give more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a firstborn or like your left nut or something.
Come on, man.
Listen, if you want that tour bus to not have the brakes go out tonight,
okay, yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
no.
No one can hear us. No one knows we're talking about this.
No,
but
we're good.
It's a tricky slope because the industry is really dark.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that
I feel
will
like
do.
there's such a dark side and there's also a light side. It just depends on which.
There is. But
lane you wanna
thankfully,
go.
because of social media and people having the guts, a lot of things are now infiltrated.
Right.
Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, all these things are coming out.
Right.
And it's like, thank God.
Yeah.
So Hollywood is so scared.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
There's no new artists. They're all pushing the stupid satanic demon. It's all so
like
done.
What's her name? Doja Cat right now? It's getting weird.
It's just getting boring.
It's getting uncomfortable
It's
to the point
is what it is.
Yeah, it's just getting uncomfortable.
It's getting boring. The demonic stuff, the satanic stuff, people are getting bored of it. And they continue to try to make it more and more evil. But the good side of that is, when we begin to see that it's this much evil, they start to realize, wow, there must be a God.
He's right about the new artists. The whole music industry is collapsing apart from authentic, organic talent rising up.
The majority of this group of individuals is reptilian. Mm-hmm. But I do want to say that not all reptilians are bad, right? Mm-hmm. We do have good reptilians, just like we have good and bad humans, right? If you want to kind of polarize that, right? And they believe that, you know, this planet is rightfully theirs because they're the ones who were here long before humans were. So they feel like they have an ownership over the planet. And I can empathize with that position.
You said the Anunnaki were the ones that told them they couldn't be in power anymore, right? I think the last time we talked, you said maybe it was the Anunnaki left too.
Hey, this chick is a razor, right? I forgot her name.
Federation that said this is the humans' planet. Anunnaki are like, bye. And the reptilians are like, no.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
What does the Galactic Federation have to say about who still owns this planet?
It's prophesized that human beings, right, this hybrid species that we are meant to be here, right? And the reptilians are free to be here as well, as long as they're okay with the shifting of the energies. And they're not okay with that because what that's doing is bringing the power to humanity, to the people, where we just haven't had it since Atlantis and Lemuria. Because of the downfall, like the lower frequency, and then the control of the reptilians.
So the reptilians are of a lower frequency.
Yes.
And so the rise of frequency is not in there. It's not resonant with them, and it's resonant with us. So it essentially creates a bigger divide between us and them.
Exactly.
And is it that they can't tolerate that new frequency, and will they have to end up leaving because they won't be able to exist in it?
Exactly. So what's happening right now is a lot of them are transmuting. So what that means is like, so, I mean, you could also consider death a transmutation, right? Transmuting is just energy moving from one form to another. A lot of the reptilians right now are transmuting into the light.
Who was the last president to control the CIA? No one had actual control over the CIA. Ever. Because most of the time, with one pertinent, horrible example, presidents have gone along with the CIA. Of course, the one horrible, shocking, disgusting example is John F. Kennedy, who famously said that he would like to take the CIA and tear it into 1,000 pieces. And maybe those were his last words, in essence.
When are the U.S. Citizens going to wake up?
Researchers just officially detected that there is a second Sphinx that is buried underneath
I knew it. Just kidding.
Great Pyramids of Egypt. This Italian research team just went public saying that they are about 80% confident that a second Sphinx is buried underneath the Giza Plateau. They use satellite radar that can detect vibrations underground, and what they found looks exactly like the original Sphinx, which is obviously insane. Hello. There is a 3,000-year-old stone tablet that's called the Dream Stele that's sitting between the paws of the original Sphinx. And that tablet clearly shows two Sphinx figures side by side. Researchers always assumed that it was just symbolic, but the team drew a line from the Kafir Pyramid through the Sphinx and it mirrored it across the plateau. The scans lit up exactly in that mirrored spot. So it's obviously there, and they were telling you it was there. They're saying that there's vertical shafts and passageways under a 180-foot mound of hardened sand, and it matches the underground layout of the original Sphinx almost perfectly. They're also saying that there may be something even bigger down there, which is an entire underground megastructure beneath the plateau. No excavation has started yet to prove all of this and see it with our own eyes, but make sure you follow me now, because whenever they start digging, I'm obviously going to be the one to tell you.
This painting is so offensive. It has the power to offend most of the world. But why is it so offensive? As you can see, these are most of the gods that the world has created over the years. There was Satan, there was Zeus, Aphrodite, all of these different gods. But then there's Archangel Michael. and Christ on top. All the lowercase g gods, all the false idols, all the darkness, all the evil people have been following for years, all the lies, they all stand beneath Jesus Christ. Every knee will bow. Not some, all knees. So the question isn't whether or not he's king. The question is, when will you bow? While you're still breathing or when you're on that last day?
Amen. All glory to God. And let them be offended.
Did you guys see this? Palantir just posted a 22-point manifesto for total domination of the world. Yeah, 22 equals 44 because 2 equals 13, which is 4, which is genocide, right? And I've already taught you the Palantir logo is the Mason logo, right? It's the circle made by the compass and the square. It's the compass and square. Palantir equals 37 because 30 equals 37 and 7 equals 20, which is 57. 57 is 5G, which is the Mason logo, 575G. And 5 equals 24, 7 equals 20, which again is 44, just like 22 is 44, right? Palantir is one of the 7 seeing stones from the Lord of the Rings. 7 is G, right? Lord of the Rings is 95. 9 is square. 5
One
is
of my favorite movie.
And here is a picture of J.R.R. Tolkien doing the hidden hand, the Freemason hidden hand. So I'm trying to tell you people, they know everything about us, and it's time that we know everything about them. That's why I want you to sign, share, and promote the Full Disclosure Act. This is how we do it. The laws are already in place.
This is how we do
ethics laws,
it.
and they have to disclose conflict of interest. Well, if you're in a secret society that's planning on genociding everybody, I would consider that a conflict of interest. So please join the 15,800 people who have signed the Full Disclosure Act, right? And if you really have some courage, get some lethal 22 clothes and wear it on the street and let the occult know that they are busted. Yeah, so Palantir just came out with a 22-point manifesto. 22 equals 44, which is genocide. And the Palantir logo is the Freemason logo, and Palantir equals 37 because 37 equals 57, which is the Mason logo. 5G because 57, 5 equals 24, 7 equals 20, which is 44, which is genocide. Palantir is the company that's going to get all your digital information and decide who lives and who dies. So sign, share, and promote the Full Disclosure Act, people. I love you all. Peace.
Peace.
There really does seem to be a biblical type of war going on in this world of ours. In all the years I have researched, all the questions, all the rabbit holes, they all seem to lead back to one thing, God. And it really does seem like there is a war for our souls happening all around us. Most of us too oblivious to notice, thinking it's nothing but art. But why does all of Hollywood, all of the music industry, suddenly seem so obsessed with this demonic display? Zac Brown, this does not match his music style at all. All the symbolism in this video. This was at the Vegas Sphere. And if I was at this concert, I would walk out. I'm not too much of a religious man myself, though I can't deny a bigger and bigger pull to God in all my research. There is good and evil out there, and they are fighting for our souls. Powers that be like to put it right in your face. These odd, creepy portals then leads into a red door with a burning red cross. This is definitely not the Zac Brown that you grew up with.
Yep.
Go ahead and watch the rest of the video if you haven't got enough warm fuzzies already.
Demonic. God gave Lucifer the gift of music. There is your answer.
It's a double thing because you already went through the indignity of.
They got her. They got her. Who the heck is this? Who the heck are you, lady?
Pamela Anderson.
This isn't the Pamela Anderson I remember. Vivian Westwood, is that you? You're telling me at 58 years young, Pamela Anderson decided to go from this to this? Are you people out of your minds? And I'm not talking about age and makeup, people. We're talking about the soul here. Where did her light go? Where once there was light and life in the eyes, there is now a complete void there. Where the smile doesn't even meet the eyes. Not like it used to, not even close. And in what world did we ever see Pamela Anderson act like this in interviews?
But, I'm having fun with my hair now. And I'd probably do a little bit of makeup for my next role.
And then I saw this interview of her, which kind of reminded me of the Jim Carrey video where they are playing a character for so long that they don't even know who they are anymore.
I don't want to play a character in my personal life, which I felt like I would start to really get into becoming a caricature or even a cartoon image, which is not me. Yeah. I was just having fun. Yeah. And I felt like I needed to separate from that. So I really peeled it back to discover who I was.
But when I see Pamela Anderson now, there is something so cold and vacant there. Her vibe doesn't feel the same. Her energy doesn't feel the same. And at times when watching her, she's reminding me of other celebrities like Princess Beatrice, the Olsen twins, Amanda Bynes. And that is a 1,000-yard stare. And that is when someone has endured such extreme trauma, they become unrecognizable. They age rapidly, become hollow and lifeless in the eyes. And again, before and after. Princess Beatrice before and then after. Britney Spears even, before and after, and Pamela Anderson, before and after. Tell me what's going on in Hollywood.
With Pamela, she's aging. Nothing to see here.
Oxford in the United Kingdom will be the first ever official World Economic Forum 15-minute city. And this is no freaking joke, dude. Look at this, what it says here. Oxford permit area. Residents living in the Oxford permit area can apply for a free permit that gives you 100-day passes per car per calendar year. Households can apply for a maximum of 3 cars. So they're already making travel restrictions ahead of the global energy crisis, which is around the corner. The zones have been drawn up, roads closed off, barriers installed, and AI driver surveillance cameras are up. Residents have already been asked to apply for permits to leave their zone. This is Hunger Games. This is The Matrix. This is the beginning also of Terminator with all the crazy AI and robotic stuff they have coming around the corner. This is absolutely wild, and everyone needs to say no. I'm sorry that, yes, we were not born in a time where the whole world is just willy-nilly, fun, happy, sunshine and roses. There is a nefarious plot upon us all. And this is every single country, by the way. There is not a country in this known realm that is secretly actually against the Illuminati, and they're not poisoning their citizens and trying to control them with AI. It's happening everywhere. So when you see this conflict in the Middle East, wonder when both countries are sending their citizens into becoming more and more connected to AI, a new technological model of society, they're all doing it. So then what is this war all about if they're all headed towards the same goals anyway? Now listen, I don't have the full answers to all this stuff. I do know that we need to say
time for the boys to cut down the cameras.
It is spoken of King Solomon, who was the wisest of all kings. He was an occultist. He was a spiritual teacher. He was a mystique. He was a practitioner of magic, and he had the ability to convey with the angels and the ability to wield the demons. So just like in the Jewish tradition, in the Jewish esotericism, there are 72 names to God, which are codes of 3 letters approximately each. The reflection of that light manifestation, aka names to God, is the 72 names to demons. Right, so there are 72 names to gods, 72 names to demons. So there is the light version of 72, and then there's the dark version of 72. But what we need to focus on today for the sake of this discussion is the 72 names of demons. And King Solomon was said or was known to have the power and the knowledge to yield them, to control them, to stop them.
David Wilcock, he knew the truth about black people. He understood that there was a metaphysical symbiotic connection between black people's DNA and how it's able to interface with these ultra-terrestrials who are interdimensional, outer-dimensional, extraterrestrial entities that come from a different star system, which are basically the same entities that the 12 scientists were also talking about, the ones that came up missing. So there's a metaphysical connection to everything that's taking place when it comes to the unaliving of David Wilcock and the 12 scientists missing. Now, here's a video back from 2012 where David Wilcock said verbatim that he will be unalived for putting out information talking about Simeon Toko, a man who had the abilities of Jesus, a man from Africa.
No way.
And he said that he will be unalived for putting out this information inside of his book.
The crazy story that I heard, which, and remember, I was told at the time that if I disclosed this, that I would be killed. And I ended up putting it in the book anyway. The story was that this guy, they finally said, okay, we're going to bring you to the United Nations and share your message with the world. Let's get you on this flight. They bring him on this flight, and instead of bringing him to the United Nations, they shot him repeatedly, and then actually had some kind of meat grinder device, and basically like a bandsaw, I guess, and split up his body into a whole bunch of pieces. These very like radioactive shielded containers, and then all these fighter jets dock with the plane and fly his body parts to the corners of the world, and then these containers turn them into ash. And they thought that maybe this would defeat him, like that his body somehow, the tissue was necessary. So if they destroyed all the tissue in all these places across the world, maybe they could defeat him. Well, he then regenerated in their offices.
Now, when you get into the esoterics and the conspiracy of it, David Wilcock, he died on 4/20 at age 53. So from April 20th all the way up until the time of June 12th of 2026, that's 53 days apart exactly. And that's when the movie Disclosure Day comes out on June 12th. So from June 12th all the way back to April 20th is exactly 53 days apart, and David Wilcock was unalived at age 53. There's an esoteric connection with that. And then when you look at the movie cover of Disclosure Day, it's the same deer that was on Leave the World Behind. So there's a metaphysical connection with that.
Y'all, they say that David Wilcock, the man from Ancient Aliens, passed away, man. And this right here hit me because I used to watch this man all the time. Every Sunday he would go live and do his weekly show. But something's not adding up. I've been noticing like this David Wilcock that I haven't seen recently looks very different from the Ancient Aliens David Wilcock. Now, it's not too much of a difference, but if you look closely, you can clearly see that there is a difference between those two. Look at the bridge of the eyebrows right over here. The eyes are different. The nose, like you see how this one's flatter and wider and this one's more pointier and longer. Look at this. The mouths are different. His teeth is out. Look at this. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to Ancient Aliens David Wilcock, there's not a lot of pausing and ums in his life. But this David Wilcock over here, there's a lot of pausing, there's a lot of ums and a lot of uncertainties in his life. Now, y'all know how I do with the breakdowns, right? How I do with the numbers and then the wordplay, okay? So something's not adding up. Let's pay attention. First of all, David Wilcock allegedly took his life on a moon day. And the person who confirmed this was Anna Paulina Luna. Luna, like the moon, because another name for the moon is Luna. Moon day, Luna. David Wilcock was 53 years old. 5 plus 3 gives you 8. What day did David Wilcock commit suicide? April 20th. 4/20, which is right. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. All right, now let's continue. Wilcock concluded his 3.5-hour stream by expressing his gratitude for his viewers and acknowledging his appreciation for them. 3.5. That's 3.5. 3.5. Right over here. Which 3.5 gives you 8 again. Now, the reason why that's relevant is because when you take an 8 and you split it down in half, you get 2 3s, right? 33. Okay, let's continue. Remember that. Now, y'all, they got the call at 10:44 a.m. on Monday, all right? 4 plus 4 plus 1 gives you 9, all right? Located near the 1400 block. Huh? The 1 and the 4 again. The 1 and the 4 again. And I be telling y'all, I don't play when it comes to the numbers because men lie, women lie, number don't, and then I use Chaldean, which is the most accurate form of numerology that there is. So now tell me, why does the name David Wilcock give you 41 in the most ancient form of numerology that there is? Look at all these 4s, look at all these 1s. What's going on, y'all? Now, I'm not saying that this is a psyop, y'all, but the numbers are adding up, right? David Wilcock's favorite number was 333. His YouTube showed this, right? David Wilcock 333. 510 subscribers. 5 plus 1 gives you 6. 216 videos. 2 plus 1 plus 6 gives you 9. So you have the 3, the 6, and the 9. 3, 6, 9. And when you get an 8, you split it, you get 2 3s. 33. This right here is symbolism. He's paying his allegiance right over here. Listen, I don't know what they did with David Wilcock, but something's fishy here. The numbers are adding up, and I'm showing y'all right here. But this right here shows that something big and major is here to come. And the reason why that is because David Wilcock is the reincarnated Edgar Cayce. And Edgar Cayce was talking about the rise of Atlantis. And we are about to rise again because this is exactly what David Wilcock was talking about. But let me know what you guys think about this video, man. The shift is here. It's all in the numbers. Let's continue to get it.
Man, this is too much. My head hurt.
They're saying that they are, number one, not interplanetary, but interdimensional. And number two, especially Tim Burchett, that his intelligence is telling him that their bases are not on planets. They are in the deep ocean. But 7 or 8 spots that they know about in the deep waters of the deep ocean around the world where they believe that whatever these beings are, that's where they're housed. And they're coming up out of the water and going up into the sky. It is interesting to me that we don't really have any video of a craft coming by a satellite and going into our Earth's atmosphere. Every video that we have is in our atmosphere, in the sky, in our sky. Well, if they're coming from another planet and we're able to get video there, and think about all the satellites that we got up, we don't have any images unless they've hid them. I think it's the reason we don't have any images because they're not coming from other planets. But we got saucers, we got Tic Tacs, we got all this kind of stuff in our atmosphere. What Tim Burchett and everybody is saying, and people that are leaking things out of Washington, is the reason we don't have those videos of them coming from the second heaven, is what I call it, the cosmos, into our atmosphere, is because they're not from there. The announcement is going to be that they're from here because they've always been here and that they were here before us. And they've been watching us and maintaining us. Now they're going to say that they originally came from out there, but for whatever reason, whether they got punished, they got stuck here, or they chose this place. They've been hiding since humanity started populating in the deep ocean. And then they come out and they go up in the atmosphere, they go back down in the water. That's the narrative.
He's like, oh, those are African death masks. I'm not getting rid of them. A week later, his house burnt down.
So what happened?
I had an investigation once. The guy was hearing a lot of people going up and down the stairs in his house, and his dog would just cower in the corner of his dining room. The dog was terrified to go into the rest of the house. It was a townhouse. And I went into his office, and I'm looking at the wall on his office, and I'm like, yeah, what is this? He's like, oh, those are African death masks. And I'm like, that's the cause of your problem right there.
People were dying in these masks. People were getting killed in these masks.
They are masks that back in the old days, they would put over the deceased face and bury them. So these are things that have been dug up that have stuff attached to them. You got to get rid of these. He's like, not going to do it. A week later, we watched the news and he texted me. He goes, oh my God, you were right. His house burnt down, his townhouse. The masks completely gone, and he had started to box them up, but he wasn't going to sell them. He was just going to keep them.
Think the mask started the fire?
I do.
Because they started boxing them up?
I do, yeah.
There's a place called Amarumuru, which is this T-shaped doorway cut on the hillside of sandstone on the edge of Lake Titicaca. The structure, known as Gate of the Gods, is carved directly into the rock face. Its unusual T-shaped design suggests it may have been used for ceremonies or held symbolic meaning in ancient cultures. Local traditions about the site are so strong, some describe it as a portal, and many suggest strange sensations near it, such as vibrations, energy, or strong pull toward the doorway. Whether these experiences are psychological, symbolic, Amarumuru remains a sacred place in Andean tradition. But like many sites in the Andes, its meaning isn't confined to just one explanation. Places like Amarumuru show how archaeology and living traditions often intersect in the Andes. On our Peru and Bolivia expedition, we explore remarkable sites like Amarumuru with historical context, architecture, and the cultural stories that surround them. If you want to join us, comment Peru and I'll send you the link.
This is what's going to happen in the next crash. It's going to happen pretty soon. Obama signed something. Thanks, Obama. To where he made you an unsecured creditor. And what this means is the next crash, not going to be a bail out. It's going to be a bail in. This is called the Frank Dodd Act.
Explain it
bail in? Like, what do you mean by that?
So Obama signed the Dodd-Frank Act, in which he saw the '08 crash, right? Never can happen again. So to withstand that and sustain that for the next crash, bail in is going to happen. So when the banks got bailed out last time, right? The bail in is where he makes everybody who has a bank account become an unsecured creditor. So when you deposit your money, guess what happens when there's a crash? Take it out. That's what the Dodd-Frank Act is. That's what he signed. To where, you know, the banks don't have to get bailed out and scramble. No, we just have the bank. We have the money in the accounts already. This already happened.
So they're going to take everybody's money.
Yeah. When a crash happens and it's catastrophic and they can't print their way out of it anymore, what do you think they're going to take next?
That will cause a revolution.
Or a complete dystopian future to where we don't own anything.
Is that in the works?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think they're going to be able to pull it off?
I mean, this already happened in Greece as well. Like, there's historical data that shows there's been bail-ins across the world. There's people throwing their money in the street because it's not worth anything. Like, we're $35 trillion in debt. Do you think we're going to get out of that debt?
I don't even know how all that works. Like, how
are we in debt to who? China? Who are we in debt to?
Well,
or the England? What's going on?
We kicked the can down the road for so long, and it's at a breaking point right now. We had a lot of greedy politicians and presidents and all these people in government who just pretty much sold us out. Why do you think we're selling so much shit? We really don't produce anything anymore. We're always selling shit in America.
We so don't.
With this act in place, with the national debt, which is, you can't recover it from that. What do you think is going to happen? It is now, right now, cheaper to rent than own a home right now. How do you get ahead? Where's the American dream at that point? We're priced out. The middle class is done for. They're going to get crushed by AI, the national debt. There's too much on top.
I don't know if there's a way back. How can you tell somebody who paid $700,000 for a house to sell it cheaper than that, even though the house might not be even worth that?
Right.
Unless there's like a complete collapse.
I believe this is why Trump is really trying to set up America to be the crypto capital of the world. Not only to, you know, push forward innovation, he's trying to get out of that debt. That's what he's doing. He's going to use crypto to try to get out that debt.
Man, yeah, he's right. The only way out is revolution.
Things that could be drawing demons into your house. Horseshoes, once seen as protection, now considered a warning in some beliefs. Jeremiah 10:2, learn not the way of the nations. Dream catchers, said by some to trap more than dreams. Corinthians 6:14-15, your body is not just physical. Tarot cards used to seek answers beyond the natural. Deuteronomy 18:10-12 warns against divination. Elephant statues with trunk up, symbols of luck to some, spiritual gateways to others. Exodus 23-4, no other gods before me. Skulls, often tied to death, symbolism, and energy. Proverbs 8:36, rejecting wisdom has consequence. Turkish eyes, protection to some, obsession to others. Isaiah 2:6, people filled with foreign influences. Money frogs, attraction symbols tied to desire and greed. Isaiah 42:8, God shares his glory with no one. Consecrated toys, items dedicated in spiritual rituals. Corinthians 10:20, things offered to other spirits.
We're told that in ancient Rome, it was one of the ultimate weapons of punishment. And when you read about it, it's just a bundle of sticks. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Fachet is an electromagnetic resonance device capable of vaporizing, electrifying, petrifying, levitate. It does all of these things, and yet we're told just a bundle of sticks. They put it on the government buildings. George Washington is holding it under his arm. You have Abraham Lincoln sitting with one on each arm. Is this a resonance device? Because they hide the truth in plain sight. This is about the Fachet, the weapon that petrifies the giants and ultimate punishment for anyone who is the enemy. We're going to learn about the microwave so you understand what the Fachet really is.
In a microwave oven, there is a vacuum chamber with magnets and electrodes called a magnetron. They cause the molecules to vibrate and rotate, cooking the food quickly.
Okay, I'm combining
high-frequency pulse lasers with resonance tube ultrasonics. If you've ever seen ultrasonic waves break up
What movie is that from?
a kidney stone on the Discovery Channel, it's the same deal here. You can put your helmets on now. Firing!
Officially impressed.
The only problem with this looted Maya lintel going to Mexico after decades hidden from the world in a private collection is it may not be from Mexico. This incredible piece of ancient art by the sculptor Mayoy is one of the Lastunich lintels. Lastunich was described by travel writer Dana Lamb as being in Mexico back in the 1950s. But he wasn't an archaeologist, and he's the kind of guy who is literally shirtless on his Wikipedia article, which is kind of cool, I suppose, but not super confidence-inspiring for sure. After Lamb visited in the 1950s, the Lastunich lintels were looted and taken to a private collection. But the owner eventually saw the light. And I hope more folks do, because looting is really bad. But the return has been marred by a controversy because between the 1950s and today, Guatemalan archaeologist Edwin Roman Ramirez found what he believes to be the actual site of Lastunich, Guatemala. If you've ever taken a boat along the Usumacinta River, you know how winding it can get. So the idea that a foreigner might mistake Guatemala and Mexico, not really that far-fetched. In fact, most scholars agree with Roman Ramirez, especially big names in archaeology like Stephen Houston and David Stewart. Houston even wrote a book about the lintels. Now, these borders were not in place during ancient Maya times. The people of Lastunich were part of a polity led by Yaxchilan, which is for sure in present-day Mexico. And these lintels reference one of my favorite rulers of Yaxchilan. So if they end up in Mexico near Yaxchilan, maybe that's not all that bad. But is it really from Mexico? We have the word of the shirtless discoverer who hopefully knew where he was. And on his side is the Mexican government and the weight of tradition. But ever since the 2010s, we've had a strong coalition of academics arguing for the site being in Guatemala. And of course, the Guatemalan government also likes that. While academics used to debate who was right, the question has now become which government gets to decide who's right. So that's kind of a dicier question. So it is wonderful that this object is finally getting back into a museum to be protected like it belongs instead of being in some rich dude's living room. And let's hope that it also is finally back home, but maybe it's still got a river to cross. Follow us to learn more about the Maya world and come visit.
How about if we let the Maya community decide where it comes from?
Same people our ancestors was fighting, it's the same people we are fighting right now. The image you are looking at in the background is the four horsemen, but look at the colors. Look at the colors. Everything you see right here, just stage. They use this horse for a reason. 2026 is the Chinese year of the horse. This sign is connected to freedom, power, movement, ambitious. The spiritual meaning behind this, breaking generational chains, running towards your purpose, speeding up manifestations, courage to take risks, raw. You get it. This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. We have something in common with our ancestors. We are fighting different timelines. The same people our ancestors was going to war with, we are now going to war with. Everything is dealing with energy, magic, sigils, rituals, and ceremonies. Right now, we are all under hypnosis because we believe that this is the only place we can go. Our ancestors never died. They reincarnated and jumped into a different body.
No.
We are our ancestors. Let's go a little deeper. So many people believe that Israel owns everything in this world, including us. But pay attention to this sign. Israel flag represents the four elements: water, air, earth, fire. When you put all these symbols together, you get the Star of David or Israel flag. These people are using dark magic sigils to trap our energy. Anytime they use this, they are telling you that they trap your spirit into these 4 elements. We have water inside of our body, 1 element. Our body is 98.6 degrees, fire, 2nd element. We inhale, exhale, oxygen, air, 3rd element. Our skin represents the soil, earth, 4th element. Our physical body is really the 4 elements, but they put us under hypnosis, spells, and rituals, and we can't tell no more. We see the same sigils and logos every day, but we don't pay it no mind. We are dealing with the same spirits. They just jumped into different bodies, and we are doing the same thing. It's called crossing different timelines. Whatever our ancestors went through, we're going to go through. How do you think they can predict the future? They are not predicting it. It's just nothing new under the sun.
Guys, the FBI, the Pentagon, the White House, and Congress have all now officially opened up a brand new investigation. There are scientists that are directly connected to NASA, nuclear weapons, and classified military programs that keep on going missing, and nobody knows why.
The FBI is investigating possible connections in the cases of 10 missing or dead scientists and staff who worked at sensitive nuclear or space technology.
So ever since 2022, 11 different scientists that are connected to America's most classified programs have now gone missing under suspicious circumstances. And I cannot believe I'm about to say this right now, but the FBI just confirmed that they are officially looking for connections between all of them. 2 different employees from the same exact nuclear weapons lab vanished weeks apart. Both of them left behind their car, their keys, their wallet, and their phone, and one of their phones was actually factory reset before they disappeared. A NASA engineer just randomly vanished off the planet while hiking and they were never found, and then a retired Air Force general walked out of his house and was never seen again. Those 2 people actually worked together on the same exact classified program. Hello? One of them was actually a military intelligence officer who worked for DARPA. He was gone right before he was supposed to testify to Congress about UFOs, and his cause was never confirmed. And on Kalshi right now, people have bet almost $100,000 that the government is going to confirm that aliens exist before 2027. I am going to keep on watching this story. This is obviously insane, so make sure you add me now so you don't miss any update.
Mortal vampirism was first started in ancient Egypt, but they mimicked a lot of rituals that they would do back in the Sumerian age. So basically the whole concept of people choosing to, back then in ancient Egypt, choosing to become a vampire was to skip over the second because they felt like they had more to do in this lifetime that went beyond being a mortal human, basically.
Yeah, when you say second, what do you mean by that?
That's when your etheric body leaves your physical body.
Okay, so the soul leaves the body?
Your etheric body and your soul is a little bit different, but yes, pretty much.
And they're trying to skip that step to stay in their physical body, right?
So they actually do not stay in their physical body. If you were to ever, and you probably never ever will, like nobody ever will, pretty much. Mm-hmm. They are not flesh and blood. They are kind of like, and this is obviously from what I've studied, they look like a gentle mist. People were doing this ritual a lot back in either Eastern Europe or in ancient Egypt as well. And basically there was kind of like a panic about it. So they would put a stake in a lot of these corpses' bodies, especially if they had like some tomb or something where you think they would have access to doing this ritual.
The wooden stake, right?
Yeah, but because back in those days, in order to keep up as a vampire without hurting other people, you would have to be receiving offerings from people that were still alive, right? So after they said, no, we're not doing this, and people just stopped giving the vampires the offerings, they would attack people at night and they would either go for blood or just any type of bodily fluid, right? Yeah.
Interesting.
Be careful worshipping darkness that is disguised as light.
I find it interesting that President Trump cleared up everything about this post by saying he was not depicting himself as Jesus, but as a doctor working for the Red Cross. You know, the organization that has a long-standing history with the Rothschilds family. The same family that Jeffrey Epstein was a representative for. In fact, Nathaniel First Lord Rothschild was one of the founding members of the British Red Cross back in 1870. And this is why there are tons of conspiracy theories that every time there's a natural disaster where the Red Cross is, children go missing for two reasons: child trafficking and adrenochrome, both mentioned in the Epstein files. Again, these are just crazy conspiracy theories I'm sure Trump has no knowledge of, but some might say he was signaling something to someone. So, what do you think? As always, let me know down below.
Well, it wasn't depiction. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support.
The Ancient Aliens legend David Wilcock has passed away, allegedly by his own hand. And I'm making this video right now because I don't believe for 1 second that this man harmed himself. However, I do wish to respect his passing, but if it were me and things weren't adding up, I would want someone to investigate too. And before you say that not everything is a conspiracy, let me show you what made me come to this conclusion. So I'm going to start by showing you a clip from his most recent video, a video that he posted one day before he unalived himself.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, man.
Because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary.
Literally just that clip alone is enough to raise some red flags about his passing. If this is your first time hearing about David Wilcock, you're probably wondering why the heck would somebody have it out for him, but this man was quite possibly a genius. He knew how to tie in spiritual ideas biblically, scientifically, physically, all the things. He was raising the collective consciousness by spreading light, love, and positivity to his massive following in a way that was easy to comprehend. And he was exposing a lot of the corruption that we are seeing right now, which probably put a huge target on his back. And he knew more than literally anybody about extraterrestrial beings, which makes me think that when they have this disclosure, finally, that they've been planning on having forever, they might not want him around to spell it out for us. Besides all of this, in the video that he posted one day before his death, he says this.
Because he's an ascended being. Again, most of us can't do this. You don't get to resurrect. If you lay down your life, you're done. So please don't do that. Please don't be stupid. Okay? It's something you never want to have to go through. And again, you know, natural is the only way to go. But
natural is the only way to go. He's literally begging people not to do what he allegedly did one day after. He also asked for donations sent to his P.O. box in the future, and said that he is exactly the same in his private life as he is online. And after watching many of his documentaries and YouTube videos, I personally don't think that this seems like a depressed man that would do something like that. I do believe that you really never know what someone's going through, but I also believe that the evil powers that run the world won't hesitate to silence someone that gets in the way of their plan. Somebody has to stand up and demand justice for the people that can no longer do it anymore.
Yep.
Since as far back as humans were drawing in caves, we have depicted the giants that once walked this realm with us. But what would be the point of hiding giants? Because to admit to giants would make so many lies in the tapestry of history, evolution, and so much more start to unravel. You can try and deny the existence of God all you want, but you have to admit the globalist-owned media, the globalist-owned education and academia, all work relentlessly to attack the thought of a creator, of a higher power. They want us separated from the divine because we are that much weaker without it. Deny the thousands of ancient civilizations. Deny all the pyramids, all the giants found in America, all of these news articles. Up until the Smithsonian came along, gathered up all the evidence, and locked it away. Then uniformly, that bought and paid for education system told us there was no such thing as giants. And the blind masses went along with it unquestioned. On a side note, be sure to check out my new YouTube video. You can find the link to my YouTube in that bio on my link tree. Just dropped today. Let me know what you think about it. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Because he would prove the Bible.
Grandfather used to work in the Amazon in Peru. He used to talk about like seeing little people, and he's dead now, but he told my dad once, like, he saw somebody's soul be taken out of it and a demon being placed in it in the Amazon. Yeah.
That sounds oddly similar to the Night Marchers.
The who?
The Night Marchers, yeah. So there's something called the Night Marchers in Hawaii. There's locals, natives, that said this for decades, to where, yeah, and they're like these little creatures. They play these drums and you can hear them at night.
I've never heard this.
Yeah,
It's really some goosebumps are all
Yeah, I swear to God.
Man, I've never
Can't you see that? Goosebumps, the Night Marchers.
The Night Marchers.
Little characters.
Yeah. I swear, you put that on a Goosebumps book?
Yeah.
Million copies sold.
Did you like Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the shit.
That.
Oh, I love Goosebumps. This is why, I don't know, it's kind of full circle, because everything that we've been into when we were kids is kind of like all the shit we're talking about now, but in real time.
Yeah, but it's actually real.
And it's real life.
We're finding out Night Marchers and all, like, yo, what the fuck
You mean to tell me that shit's real?
Yeah,
Where do you
because...
think it came from? Somebody's imagination? Obviously, it's all real.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. It's
Somebody saw it. Somebody saw a mermaid sometime, you know?
Oh, yeah, mermaids. Yeah.
I know. I had like known one person who like actually swore they saw a mermaid like sailing out in the ocean.
Okay, so there's actually a lot of sightings. It's like well known in the Seychelles Islands. That's like a known thing. They're like, hey, don't go in the water at this time.
Yeah, and mermaids actually, they sound like little kids or something screaming. Don't they can change their voices?
They can change their voice to where they'll try to lure in like sailors or, you know, people who are shipping out there. And it can be like, you know, like a kid screaming for help, or it sounds like a beautiful woman, and they'll lure you in and they'll get you.
So like Lila Rona, right? That whole story.
Yeah, the kids drowned, and I believe it was something to where, I don't know if her kids perished, and she's, like you said, she's always searching for her kids.
That's what I know it as.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And it's like you hear like these cries. That's because remember we went on at Universal. That was like that was crazy.
They had the walkthrough.
Yep, I'll never forget that shit.
Universal Horror Nights.
Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
And I think that these ideas that we think that are fictional, they're always pulling from something true. And they're like,
tell me that shit's real?
They're like, oh shit, like this story was legit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember walking through that.
Hell no, never again. We ran. That was the only one that we ran through.
We did.
Facts.
But that was some scary shit because it just felt too real to me. I'm like, this just doesn't. What am I doing here?
Upon that spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Germany went to Antarctica. That is a historical fact. In 1938 and 1939, the Deutsche Antarktische Expedition mapped a massive territory they called New Schwabenland. They dropped thousands of aluminum markers from aircraft to stake the claim. The official reason was resource mapping. Specifically, they were looking for whaling territory to reduce their dependency on imported fats for the war effort. Entirely reasonable, entirely documented. But the conspiracy says they found something else beneath the ice. Tunnels and passages leading down into geothermal warmth. Natural cave systems carved by volcanic heat. Habitable. Hidden from the surface. Spaces large enough to house a civilization. Large enough, some say, to house a fleet. They called it Base 211. And the story goes that as the war ended, the Vril Society didn't surrender. They retreated into Agartha.
Wow, my mind is blown. It is not just David Wilcock that has just passed away, but other experts and colleagues in his field have also passed away. And they were all associated or featured in the show Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. And now it's caused plasma physicist John Brandenburger. He posted this AI image and this message that says, "Dear friends, I have been told I am in danger as an anti-gravity and Mars investigator. But I tell you now that all humanity is now in danger. But so are the cover-up helpers. I urge a blanket amnesty for all in the cover-up who end it. Take this amnesty while you still can." Now, this is considered a conspiracy theory. It is what Dr. John Brandenburger is alleging. But we also have a scientist who was working on anti-gravity. Anti-gravity. Isn't that what Amy Eskridge, one of the scientists who allegedly took her own life, was working on? You remember Amy, she was one of the scientists who have mysteriously disappeared or passed away. Yes, she was working on anti-gravity. And if you watch the videos I've posted of her, she was claiming that she was about to allegedly expose it to the public via her Institute of Exotic Science in Huntsville. So if Dr. Jan Brandenburger has also been researching anti-gravity and Mars, I think it's legitimate for him to feel scared. So the rabbit hole took me down to this. All these men are linked to the show Ancient Aliens on the History Channel, and they have all allegedly passed away. And you guys know that I have to say allegedly, right? And I have to say that this could all be a conspiracy theory. It is all alleged. A ton of other professionals and colleagues from the show, including Nick Pope and Eric Von Daniken.
All right, so I'm gonna prove to a lot of y'all non-believers that dinosaurs wasn't destroyed by so-called meteors or comets because dinosaurs didn't even exist. There's known evidence, there's data from scientific databases, even NASA, and you can look this up on Google, that there's about 190 to 200 confirmed craters around the world, humongous craters that they said came from asteroid impacts. Well, if you look in the book of Genesis, also in the book of Enoch, it was said that there was just about 190 to 200 angels that fell from the heavens along with Lucifer. And if you know anything about angels, how they really look, the watchers is what they call them. They're humongous. They're really extremely big. And if you look at the crater sites around the world, they're not on a diagonal. They're straight divots in the earth. It's not like something came on a trail, on an axis, and came down and landed across the sky. It was like something just fell straight down, like something fell from the heavens. If the book of Enoch, the Bible, is saying that 200 angels fell, and also real science is saying that there's 200 large craters around the world, then that should tell you that angels was real. And that's the reason why God flooded the earth, because when angels fell, they taught mankind a lot of things that we weren't supposed to learn. They taught them alchemy. They taught them how to turn the metal into weaponry. And they made it with human woman, which created the Nephilim giants. And that's the reason why we had that great flood, because he was trying to get rid of the abomination, which is the Nephilim beings. So all this stuff about dinosaurs, that stuff is fake. Comets and everything that's supposed to have hit the earth millions of years ago, it wasn't really comets. It was angels. Make sure y'all follow me on YouTube for my long form content at Nyrome Lynch. I'll see y'all there. Peace.
Celebrities whose names were found in the Epstein files. 1. Stephen Hawking, 1999, leaked facts. Stephen wants the Island Observatory unlocked for a private black hole presentation. Told Jeffrey he's bringing his own telescope and a theory that the island exists in a parallel universe where nothing is illegal. 2. Bill Gates, 2014 encrypted email. Bill wants a private PowerPoint room with 17 screens to present his new project called Microsoft Island 365. Told Jeffrey he's bringing his own mosquito net and a USB drive labeled Definitely Not Browsing History. Arrived wearing cargo shorts. 3. Dwayne Johnson, 2016, leaked voicemail. Rock called saying, "I need a cheap meal vacation. No cameras, no trainers, just pancakes." Showed up with 47 cases of Terramana tequila and a portable gym he swore he wouldn't use but was spotted bench pressing. 4. Brad Pitt. Brad asked if the island has a pottery wheel and wine cellar because he's going through something. Arrived looking like a lost surfer carrying 12 bottles of his own rosé and a journal titled Thoughts from a Beautiful Man on a Mysterious Island.
Man, the sickness is overwhelming.
Alright, check this out, because this confirms the theory about everything that's going on with the world leaders that I've been talking about lately. So if you look at this painting from 1992, it shows these figures who look a lot like the future political figures who are going to be the most prominent in the coming years, like Hillary, Obama, and then Trump as a young boy, but then if you reverse part of the image and you do like an overlay scan of it, you can see that it shifts into an older version of Trump, which this is how he looks like 7 years later. So it's very strange that these people at Bank of America, who, if you run the money supply, you run the world basically, they know what is about to happen. And it's because these people are all friends with each other and they're all time travelers. There's a bunch of different parallel timelines running on at the same time. They're trying to make the best possible outcome for humanity. But many people interpret it as being demonic just because they don't understand the technology.
Black hole sun, CERN, portal.